Okay. All right. Welcome everybody to our presentation today on the PRA's MyHeritage website. This is part one of two webinars, free webinars that we're presenting. We've already presented this presentation today a couple of days ago, and so this is the second presentation of part one. And then later we'll be doing a presentation in January of part two. And again, that'll be presented twice at different days and times. So we're trying to get the presentation out there to as many people as we can by picking different dates and times. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cover some of the basics today of MyHeritage and kind of give you an overview, if you will, about the MyHeritage site, how to log in, site features, and navigation. And then if we have some time left over, we'll do some demonstration about how to search your family tree, PRA's family tree, and so forth. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop showing you this particular application, and instead I'm going to switch over. Okay, now hopefully you can all see this page, and if it's not big enough, let me know and I could make it appear a little bit bigger on my screen. Jan, is that big enough for you, or do you want a little bit bigger?
No, this is fine.
Okay, Natasha, is that okay for you? Hopefully, I'm not sure how big of a, okay, good, thank you. I'm not sure how big monitors you guys are using to view this, but ideally, the way these presentations work well is if you have a big enough monitor screen, like 17-inch and above, you can open up two windows. One window would be this presentation, this webinar, and then you can open up a second window on the other half of your screen that where you can get into the PRA's MyHeritage site, log in, and you can go along with us. So as I'm talking and demonstrating, you can also be looking on your MyHeritage site, that kind of stuff. Okay, Nancy, I see you've joined us. I just turned your microphone on. Can you hear me okay, Nancy?
Yes, I can. And I would appreciate a bigger view because it's a bit small for me.
All right. Now, if I make the font size bigger and the pictures bigger like this, well, I can't. It won't let me do it for some reason. Okay, let me try it. Is that what you mean by bigger?
Yeah, that's a little bit better. Yeah. Okay.
Or do you want me to make it bigger this way?
No, that's okay too. Yeah, you can leave it just as it is.
Okay, I'll leave it like that. Then we can adjust it later. Okay. All right. So ideally, like I said, you've got a couple of ways that you can do this. If you have a big enough monitor, you can see our presentation, our webinar on one web page on one side of the screen. On the second web page, to the other side of the screen, you can see your own website. Okay. Now let's talk about MyHeritage, just the basic, what MyHeritage offers you. If you haven't had a chance yet to look at it, MyHeritage does offer you several different plans that you can join. And you must join MyHeritage before you can access the PRA's MyHeritage website. Now, they offer you three plans, if I recall correctly. One is the basic plan, which is free. Now, you will get messages and information where they would like you to change that and go to one of their paid subscription plans, but they do have a basic free MyHeritage membership that won't cost you a thing. And it will give you certain access rights, will give you certain features to your own personal MyHeritage site should you want to do that. But that's entirely up to you. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But you do have to join at least at the basic free one in order to access the PRA's MyHeritage site. Now, going the next step up from that, they have what they call a premium plan, and the premium plan does cost per year I'm going to guess here, let's say $100 a year, but don't hold me to that. I don't have the numbers in front of me. And the premium plan gives you access to many more features and functionality. Plus, it gives you access to many, but not all, of of MyHeritage databases that they have, where they have records and newspapers and historical records and so forth, okay? And that's included in your premium plan. The next step up from that is what's called the Premium Plus plan, and that's the best plan you can get. And I think that's like $175 a year, but again, don't hold me to that. The Premium Plus plan gives you all of the other features we described a minute ago, plus several more enhanced features, including access to even more databases and more functionality. Okay, so you should take the time to review those and decide which one of those plans that you would like if you haven't done that already. And of course, if you choose one plan and you decide at the end of the year when your subscription's up, or actually anytime during your subscription time, you can upgrade. You can't downgrade as far as I know, but you can upgrade if you want. At the end of your subscription period, if you wish to cancel it, of course you can cancel and not renew. But if you do that, then you would not be able to have access back into the PRA's MyHeritage site. Now, there's also two what's known as data subscription plans, and I'm going to show this again to you later on, what these different things are. But the data subscription plan is an additional fee, because it's another plan, that you pay in addition to your membership fee, your site subscription fee. And I believe that's around $100 a year, but again, don't quote me on that, but you can look at those prices yourself when you compare them. The data subscription plan gives you access to all of the thousands or hundreds, if not thousands, of databases MyHeritage has and makes available to you. These are everything from census records, which a lot of are free through sites like My Family Search, but they're also available for free through a lot of other places. But it also gives you like newspaper access. It gives you access to birth records, marriage records, and a lot of databases that you are most likely not going to find on other sites. Now, the exception is to that is Ancestry.com. Ancestry.com does have many of the same databases that MyHeritage does, but MyHeritage has some databases that Ancestry does not, and vice versa. So many people, including myself, I pay a yearly subscription fee to Ancestry.com and to MyHeritage because they each offer access to different databases. Okay. I've also found during my research that many times the information I found on Ancestry.com through one of their databases is not the same as what I found through MyHeritage. It's not as detailed or not as accurate, let's say. Okay, so that's something to be aware of as well. Now, one thing that all three plans give you at MyHeritage, the basic, the premium plus, is they give you access to what's called smart matches. And those are possible matches on other MyHeritage members' websites, and we'll go over those in a minute. Okay, so when you first log on to MyHeritage, you're probably, if you've already joined another MyHeritage site, such as the PRA's or another one, you're going to see a window like you're looking at here. Now, this is my individual personal MyHeritage site. And I have access to two sites. One of them is to my own personal one. The other one is the Pennington Thomas website, which is managed by Larry Pennington, my cousin. So he has that site. So I can go to either one of those, and you notice that there is a go to this site in orange block below each site. If you've already joined MyHeritage, you may be offered your own personal site to go to, or it's the PRA site. I'm not sure what it shows you. All right. Now, in my case, when I log on to the PRA site, this is what I see. This is the home page that I see. Now, have all of you been successful? Go ahead, Jan, you have a question.
Well, my question was, if you have trees in both Ancestry and this, have you had to enter information twice, or are you able to upload information?
No, you cannot swap information between the two. They're two companies, and they don't want to share. So yeah, so unfortunately, you are going to have to copy it. But the nice thing is, let's say that you're looking at a census record. If you find a census record on Ancestry, you can go to MyHeritage and find the same record and just add it right to your MyHeritage website that way too. So that saves you from having to enter it. But if you find something on Ancestry it's not there, what I do in Ancestry is I save it to my shoebox. And also then if it's an image, I can download the image. And then later I can print that, or I can copy the image or copy the transcript and the source information and print that out, or I can save it to a text file, then I can bring it into my Ancestry later. I'm sorry, into MyHeritage later.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So unfortunately, don't make it easy. Okay. Let's go on from there. All right. So here is what it looks like for me. Now, I don't know what your page looks like when you successfully log into the PRA's MyHeritage site, but hopefully it looks something like this. Okay. Does anybody's page not look like that? Okay, good. All right. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to start with covering some of the site features, and I'm going to go over this kind of like from left to the top and then work my way to the right and cover the various things that are inside each one of these and talk about the site features, okay? And by the way, if you want to speak up, there's only 3 of us here, so go ahead and you can start talking if you want, or Natasha, you can ask a question, but you can just go ahead and speak up. You don't have to worry about that, since you don't have to worry about raising your hand since there's not many of us here. Okay, on the left-hand side, and I'm going to use they call a spotlight tool, and hopefully you can see the red spotlight. Over here on the left-hand side, you notice it says this is a Premium Plus family site. Invite more family, view family tree, add photos, slideshow, timeline, time book, print your family tree, MyHeritage mobile, DNA test, record matches, and you can see that we have 87,702 record matches in 171 historical collections. And I'll talk about those in a few minutes. And that's distinctly different than the next category, which is smart matches. Smart matches are possible matches in other MyHeritage members' family trees. Okay, a little different situation than the record matches. Record matches, in my estimation, are much more important than the smart matches, but you certainly don't want to ignore the smart matches. But record matches are ones that's telling you that they found a possible match in an historical record somewhere. So those you should be looking at on a regular basis. Excuse me. And we're going to go over these in a little bit more detail. Plus, some of them are covered in the top menu lines as well. Okay, across the top, over here in the top left-hand corner, you notice it says Pennington Research Association. Now, if you belong to more than one MyHeritage site, there should be a little drop-down triangle there. If you click on it, you probably can pick the other site. All right. Right next to that's a refresh button, and I forget what that button is. But then here at the top we have Home, Family Tree, Discoveries, Photos, Apps, and Research. And then at the top again we have Pennington Research Association with a down triangle. I'll cover that in a minute. And this little envelope is for mail, and then in English because it's a setting that I've clicked on to have it set. All right, I'm going to go back over here. See, what is this? This is, don't know what that is. Usually a little thing will pop up. Oh, that's a record matches. That gives me a chance to confirm it. So I'm going to go to the home. I call these tabs across the top here. the home tab first, and you see within it we have family events, which are triggered by dates that are entered for people that you have entered into the MyHeritage database, or in this case, people that the PRA has put into there. These are things like marriage, I'm sorry, their upcoming be like a death date or a marriage, those kind of things for people who are still living. Family statistics is just what it says. It's raw statistical data on how many people and those kind of things. Invite family, which is not an option available to you as a member. That's only done by the site managers, where we invite more people to participate. And Natasha, this is where Carmen will come in later, and she will send you an invitation to do that. Let's see. If you'll send me your email to put it in the chat thing or in the question thing, enter it, and I can send you an invitation to that. If you'll enter your email address, I can send you one invitation. The only thing is you'll have to go through the process of joining and then go through all that. So it might take you away from the presentation right now, but do it to me later on and I'll give it to you. Okay, I see it right there. All right, let me copy this real quick. Okay, valid request. It's interesting. Why is it doing that? Have an error page here, so let me clear out of that real quick. Let me stop the recording. All right, so to recap that again, we went to the home page tab, down to site account, then we went to site account for the details there. Then we went through my preferences, which is really important, my privacy, and then general. And my preferences and my privacy, again, to repeat, is very important. General, and we went through each of the tabs there that shows you how you can customize your site and general settings. The next one was home page, how you can add a narrative to your page. This again is your personal MyHeritage site. You cannot do it on ours, the PRA's. A calendar, the PRA does not use this feature, but on your personal one, you certainly can. Under the genealogy setting was names of married women. You can add your message to your welcome message. You can add a image there, and about your family, you can add a narrative about your family. And also down here in missing pieces, you can provide a description of the missing pieces in your family histories. Next one is photos, where you can email photos into your personal MyHeritage site. You cannot mail them to the PRA one. Last one is purchases, and again, where you can look at the details for what kind of a plan you have, and if you have a data subscription, or not, and it shows you active or not and retired. If you want to purchase it, it'll give you the options there of what you would like to be able to purchase if you want to. All right, I'm going to go to the next tab, which is Family Tree. Now, before I do this, let's pause and see if there's any questions at this point. All right. The next tab up here is called Family Tree, and I click on it, and this little window opens up below here, and I'll cover those in a minute. But you'll also notice to the left-hand side, the pedigree view, which is the default view for my family tree, or for our family tree, comes up, and it starts with Levi Pennington, which is a start person. And I can't get that to change. I don't know why, but it just won't change. But it doesn't matter because you can search. But anyway, and we'll cover this family tree part in a few minutes and talk about over here the different settings and what you can do within the family tree. All right. But I want to, first of all, I'm going to make this go back, and I want to show you a couple of tricks real quick on this. If you'll notice on this particular view, you've got some interesting tabs and some interesting boxes. For example, here is Find a Person, where literally you can enter a person's name in there and then click on the search icon, and it'll see if it can find it. The next is settings, and then this has to do with maneuvering navigation, and this is a help button. This area right here has to do with magnification, and I'll demonstrate that in a minute, and this has to do with moving the image up, down, left, or right, okay? And this is the field, if you will, in here that shows you that part of the tree that you can see based on the settings where you are. For example, I'm going to go to the slider bar here in the right, which is the magnification, and I'm going to increase the magnification, and I'm going to decrease the magnification. See the difference? And the advantage is that you can, that by decreasing it a little bit, you can still see a little bit of the name, but you can move quickly left or right. Now, for example, moving left or right, I'm going to go up here to this top circle, and I'm going to move to the right by clicking in the right triangle, the triangle pointing to the right. See how it's moving to the right? I'm going to point to the left, go to the left. I'm going to point up and move up, click down and move down. Okay, so those are easy click buttons, and what that does, if you notice, it moves the image like one specified distance at a time, not a whole big bunch. The other way to move around is, if you notice my cursor, when I put it here in the field area, it becomes a small open palm. If I left click, it becomes a closed fist. It allows me to drag the window up, down, to the right, to the left, wherever it is I might want to go. So if you don't want to use this button on the right-hand side, which does one at a time, you can still go over here and you can drag this and move it to a particular area. Likewise, by having the magnification to zoom in or out and down low, you can zip way over to here. Like if you want to go way over to here to see it, you can do that, and then go back up in magnification. It will let you see that area. Then you can maneuver it by grabbing the screen and clicking around. Now down here in the lower left corner, it also does this. It opens up this little mini window, and you can do the same thing by going where you want to, by clicking or by dragging. See how it does that? By dragging. This kind of mini screen gives you an overview of it, and it's another easy way to maneuver around. And you click on this right or left triangle to open or close that. So those are some quick, easy tools that allow you to navigate around the My Tree site. And then under here, under options, this is what this gear is. It's about your tree preferences, how many generations around the main person. And you can also choose to display these different things out here. And you have name preferences and more actions. And then you close this, and then this button here changes the menu. It takes away this menu up here. And then again, this is the help button right here. Okay, so I'm going to pause for a minute there, and I showed you some quick, easy tools to navigate and through the family tree, how you can make it smaller, larger in size, or you can also use single click buttons to jump like one family at a time, either up, down, left, or right, or you can move your cursor to the middle, left click and close your palm on your cursor. It becomes a closed palm, and you can maneuver it this way or that way. Or down here in the lower left, you can left click on that triangle, I'm sorry, on the right or left arrow, and it opens up this mini window down here and allows you to either click to maneuver it or drag it to go big distances if you want. Okay? All right. Okay, so let me go back up here to Family Tree, and I'm going to look at Relationship Report. This is just an easy way that you can enter a person that you want to start as a source, and then a target individual, and you can ask to see the relationship between those two people. Sources. You click on Sources. Thought I did. Okay, there we go. Now, this is an important area within our MyHeritage site because you can, at any time you want to, you can add a source using this particular window. This also gives you an easy way to search the sources. You notice that we have about 3,400 sources in here. And you can do a quick search if you want to up here. You can do an advanced search. Okay. There are different things you can do here to maneuver around. Okay. Is everybody okay there? Somebody, a microphone is on and it sounds like you're having a small battle there. It's feeding back to all of us. Okay. Anyway, this is the source area, so you can search for sources there. If you want to see more, you can click on it, and it'll open it up, and it'll show you the information on that particular source. And because we're, I guess, a little slower in the internet for some reason, yeah. So there it shows you the citations where this source was cited, okay? And it gives you the detail up here. Now, you don't want to delete the source. Even if you think there's something wrong with it, you can edit it if you wish to make it more accurate, more current, but please don't do that unless you're really sure. And when you do update it or whatever, make a little notation in there that, you know, that you were the person who updated it this date and time and what you changed, so the next person knows why. Okay, I'm going to go back up to Manage Trees. Now, in the PRA's MyHeritage site, we have 2 family trees. Now, we could add another family tree, just like you could add a family tree to our MyHeritage site, but we're telling people that we don't recommend you do that. That rather what you do, if you want to add information to the PRA master tree, which is known as the PRA master file 4-12, you can go in and you can add that directly, and we'll cover that in part 2, and I'll do a short demo of a little bit of that later on. But that's the better way to do it. And what I do personally is I add a little snippet of my information to the PRA master file rather than add my whole family tree and upload it as a separate family tree. If you want to upload your whole family tree, then what my suggestion is you do that on your personal MyHeritage site. Because what will happen too is as time goes by, in fact pretty quickly, you're going to come up on your personal site. It's going to show you possible matches with the PRA master file. And then you can link the 2 together that way. All right. But this gives you some information and so forth as to the family trees and the dates and all the rest of that. Now, up here where we were at family tree earlier, and there was a managed trees, you can go back to this site here, and let's say if I wanted to view this, you notice I have an option right here where it says view. So I'm going to left click on view, and this is the Sir Isaac Pennington family tree that we put on here. This research was done by a professional genealogist in England. Did an excellent job, and it's got wonderful sources and citations and a lot of detail in there. And I think it's group 14. So if you're from group 14 and you have any interest in this particular person who was at one point the Lord Mayor of London, England, if I remember correctly, it's kind of interesting because it was an important historical time for the United States and certainly, of course, for this group 14. And this person, Sir Isaac Pennington, died in the Tower of London, if I remember correctly again. So anyway, I'm going to go back up. Now, if you notice over here in the far left-hand corner, it has Isaac Pennington 14-1, but there's a little down triangle. And if you point to it, you see PRA master file. So I'm going to click on it and bring it back. Okay. And again, over here, you can go to here and you can select the Sir Isaac Pennington. So you can switch back and forth if you want to. Import GEDCOM would be, again, where if you wanted to import your personal family tree here, and I wouldn't suggest you do that. Rather, I would suggest you do your personal family tree on your MyHeritage personal site, not on the PRA one. The next one is backup, but you don't have to worry about. The next one is print chart and books. And this gives to you a couple of different chart options that you can print, and it has some customization options that you can choose from. And the first thing it wants you to do is select the type of chart or book, and it has like 6, I guess. And then I'm not sure what this one is. That's a new one I haven't checked out yet. But you can do that, and then you can go down to the chart style, and it gives you like, I don't know how many different styles, I think. Wow. All kinds of different styles of your chart depending upon what it is. You customize it here, and then you can print it and print it for a large poster or for multiple pages for printing on your home computer. And then you click on Generate Chart. So if you haven't played with that yet, you may not want to do it in the PRA master file unless you're just going to do a small group. But on your personal one, though, this is kind of interesting, and you can get some pretty nice looking charts and books out of that. Okay, the next one is Discoveries. And we have Smart Matches. I'm going to click on that. Smart Matches are those matches that the MyHeritage database thinks there are smart matches, other MyHeritage members' websites that may match the people in our family tree. And it gives you the name of the left of the website, and it tells you who the manager is and the number of matches, and also you can see in this case there's 1961 to confirm, okay? And then to the right is View Matches. Now I'm going to click on this top one here. It's almost 2,000 matches, so it might take a second to load. And what we ask you to do is, let's pretend for a minute that this Lavinia W. Pennington, which is found on their website in my family tree, is my relative, my ancestor. And I'm pretty sure this information that appears here is correct. And let's say that this person over here, Lavinia W. Robbins, born Pennington, that this looks pretty good. This looks like a match possibly to me. So if it's my ancestor, what I would do is I would go through the review match, and if I'm really convinced that this is the same person, I would click on confirm. Okay? Or if I'm not, then I would reject it. All right? And then there are some more actions you can do as well. And you can compare family trees and those kind of things. But we ask you to only do that if this is your ancestor, because you wouldn't want me going into here, and if this was not my ancestor, let's say that it was Jan Darling's ancestor, and I know absolutely nothing about Jan's family, and I wouldn't want me to be confirming that, who doesn't know anything about a family. So that's why we ask you, the member, you do that if it's in your family tree and you know about this person, okay? Don't do it if it's not yours, not your family member. And you also can contact Brian directly, and it's going to look the same on your personal MyHeritage site. Okay, so that's the smart matches. Under record matches, this is really interesting here, and you know that you might find one of your family members on here. So you can go through and you can do this. You notice here that this is by collections, but if I click on by people, notice up here to the right, there's 2 tabs, by collections and by people. If I click on by people, this is going to show me by individual persons. So you can go through here, and if you find one of your family members, one of your ancestors, you can click on that and you can go review those matches. So I'm going to click on this, and you notice now it shows me that, hey, this is an actual historical record from a newspaper, and it's in the archives, and it gives you the name and information and so forth, and I can review this and I can confirm it or not. So this is an example of where, if you have access to the data subscription plan, that you can go in and you can take advantage of this. Ouch, that hurts my ears. Whoever's doing that. Something happened that's made a squelching sound coming am the microphone. And again,
this, I am a limited income. Sorry.
Yeah.
So when you're on this by people
Yes.
section, you can't you can't search, you can't type in a particular
No,
person's name somewhere to see if there's any matches.
not
Okay.
not on this screen, but I'll show you later under the research tab where you can do that.
Okay.
All right. This is just kind of giving you a quick overview by people, that's all. Now, I'm going to pause here for a minute because this is an important part of what MyHeritage can do. But if you do not have a data subscription plan, some of this stuff you may not be able to see. Remember, I described the basic plan, the premium plus plan, where each of those gives you a limited amount of access to their records. Okay? If you want access to all of their databases, all of their records, you have to purchase their data subscription plan.
Mhm.
And so we, you know, as PRA as a group, when we were going through all this, we initially were of the impression that by us getting this, that our members would also have access to it. And it was not too long after we started this thing working a couple of years ago, we discovered that was not true, that each individual member had to purchase their own data subscription plan to get access to that. Now, I'm going to digress for a minute and let you on a little secret. What many genealogy researchers do is they have two ways to work around this problem, because these data subscription plans, whether it's the MyHeritage, Fold 3, Ancestry.com, any of the databases that you have to pay to access to, that you can do one of two things. One, you can go, or both, you can go to the local public library that may have access to some or all of these databases. Many of them do have. Or the local LDS church that has a family history center that's open to the public, which most of them are, and they all have access too. And you can go in there and for free, you can access these databases and you can do the research that way. Secondly, in fact, the LDS's church, to the best of my knowledge, they all have free access to MyHeritage websites and data subscription plans. So you can go there. Like here in the location where I live, our local genealogy society has a working relationship with the local family history library and the LDS church here, and we provide docents that go down there 4 days a week, and it's open to the public and come down, and we will work with them people to show them how to access this for free. So that's a way there, library or LDS family history centers. The second way that's very common is, let's say that the four of us are all researching the same family or families, let's say 4 or 5 families. And one of us buys access to the MyHeritage data subscription plan. One of us buys MyAncestry.com or Ancestry.com. One of us gets into newspapers. Another one gets into Fold 3 or whatever. What we do is we share with each other our username and passwords. Oh my gosh, can you believe that? We share username passwords. Now, I would not normally recommend or suggest that, but if you have a high trust relationship with the other person you're thinking of doing this with, that's between you and them, okay? I know people who do this. I don't recommend it because it has other pitfalls, but that is a common thing that is done, okay? And especially because some of these are very expensive, subscription plans. Other ways that I've done it sometimes is I'll do say a Fold 3 subscription plan for 1 year, whereas this year I'm focusing on doing military and research on military records. But at the end of the year, I let it go, and I leave it alone for a while until I'm ready to come back to it down the road. So rather than pay year after year and not get the most use out of it, I'll do it that way. So there are some ways you can minimize the cost. Now, if you're like me and you're nutso and you're trying to do a lot of research as much as you can, I have access to Fold 3 MyHeritage data subscription and to Ancestry.com. And then I use those for different kinds of research and pull that information down into my personal genealogy software, and that's where I record it. Okay, so let's go back up here to the next one, which is Discovery Hub. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail in this, but basically, you're going to find this more useful on your personal MyHeritage site. And it talks about how you can do the things to get more information on your family tree and more connections. So you can take your time and go through that, and it gives you 3 things you can do, and if it hasn't found any more discoveries for you. It has not found any discoveries. The next one up here is photos. So I'm going to click on photos, this tab at the top. And here on the photos page, it starts off with recent photos. And it just gives you a little thumbnail of the recent photos. But if you notice over to the left, there at the top up here, it says albums, and it says there's 16 albums. If you left click on the first album, which is Captain Alexander C.M. Pennington, it shows you the 3 pictures that are in that particular album. The next one is Family Crest. And there's just one there for right now. The next one is Family of Benega Pennington, which is my family. And if you want to add pictures, you can, my suggestion is that what you do is one of 2 ways. Create an album that for your particular ancestor, and what I did in this case was Benega Pennington is my 5 times great-grandfather. So I called it Family of Benega Pennington, and then I put his birth date in there. You can do the same thing, or you can also add or just put on there Benega Pennington Group 7, or Alexander C.M. Pennington Group 4, something like that. That gives the other people are going to be seeing this some hint or some clue as to what that album is about. The next thing is that when you add a picture, make sure you add a title to the picture so that it makes sense. Now, for example, I'm going to go up here to recent ones. There are some pictures in here that people didn't add a name to it. They just added some abbreviation that probably meant something to them. Oh, there was one. But it doesn't mean anything like here. There was one that says image IMAG 0003. Okay, that means nothing to anybody. Whereas Pennington Rachel Leanne or Rachel Lynn means something. Here's another one that says 2-27-2015H. So add a name to that picture that somebody else reading it will know who that picture is. Like here it says Linda, L-Y-N-D-A. All right. So you should try to make the picture title and the name something that means something to everybody, okay? And then underneath each picture, there's a little thing there for settings, and you can rename it, and you can rotate it and some things like that. So that's the easy way to do it. So create an album first, which up here it says add new album. That's where you would do it. And then once you have the album, then you can go over here to add photos. And then there's also more actions you can do over here. All right. And then there's a slider bar that you can make them bigger or smaller. Okay. So that's how you do the pictures. Now the nice thing about adding pictures is that once you add pictures, you can also go back in and you can match them up to individuals in the family tree. Or you can go to find the person in the family tree and then add a picture to them, okay? So they're all kind of tied together. So you can see more information about the person either way. And on that, then I'm going to scroll down past the albums, and the next category is people. See? So if I click on Aaron Columbus Pennington, that picture is tied to that individual. Abel Pennington. All right? So if you were to go to that individual in the family tree, you would see that picture tied to that individual. Or in this case, like here is my 5 times great-grandfather's gravestone. So that's the nice thing about being able to do it. You can add specific information to the photographs so it makes some sense. You can create a family album like I was demonstrating to you. Somebody like here just did group 6, which works as well. You can add just group 6 pictures if that's how you're capturing. Here's a group 8. Here's a group 30. Somebody created the number, but no pictures in there yet. Here's group 6, Gordon Mortuary Death Records, but nothing in there. Here's an unknown group, group 10. So now let's say that you have some pictures that belong in group 10. You know, you could do a couple things. One, you could create your own album for your particular family, and you could also then duplicate those pictures, say add them to group 10 as well. Okay. So the pictures and the album part has some interesting things, including the slideshow. You can do a slideshow if you want. Okay. Any questions about, oh, and then there's the add photos and so forth. It's right here. You can drag and drop now, you know, go right into it. You can also click up here and get pictures that are there already. You can also add an album that way by clicking on it, and you can create a new album and add a description. And just click the X to close it. All right, let's pause right there. And we've covered some of the family tree stuff, discoveries, and photos. Any questions on any of those 3 items? Okay. Now remember, what I'm describing to you here, we're looking at the PRA's MyHeritage site, but the functionality and how you do things works the same on your personal MyHeritage site. Okay. All right, we're going to take a quick pause. I get a drink of water here, and if you want to get up and stretch or whatever, I'm going to turn my mic off for a minute.
Okay.
Okie dokie. Okay. If there's no questions, last 3, let's go to this next tab up here, which is called Apps. I'm not going to do a lot of detail on this, but you can download for free apps that will work on your iPhone or iPad or on your Android phone or Android tablet. And these are little mini applications that run on those devices where you can share your GEDCOM data from that you have on MyHeritage, and you can see it on your smartphone or tablet. Okay? All right. So those are available to you if you want to. Then you don't have to, but you can if you want to. Okay, now I'm going to go down to the next one. It says Family Tree Builder. Now this is free, and this you're going to download to your desktop computer, whether it be a Mac or whether it be a Windows-based PC. And you can download it, and it sits here on your desktop, and you can work with it. You can, for example, upload GEDCOM to it, and you can go into it, and you can do all these cool things within the Family Tree Builder. You can also set it to sync to your personal, I emphasize personal, MyHeritage website. So you're working on your Family Tree Builder on your desktop computer, and you're adding people, you're adding sources, you're adding pictures, and you're doing all those cool things. And then you can tell it to sync to your MyHeritage personal website in the cloud, and it will sync it. Okay, that's a really neat and exciting feature. So you can, and then the reverse is true too. So wherever you go, either the web, the MyHeritage site, or to your desktop one, whenever you make changes in either of those 2 locations, the cloud or on your desktop application, it will sync it for you and make those changes so that the both of those are always synced together, and the data appears in both locations as well as pictures.
Is there a limit on the number of people you can have in this? In the Family Tree Builder?
You know, I don't think there is. There is on your MyHeritage website based on the plan you have.
Okay. Okay.
But I think with the premium and the premium plus plans, it's unlimited how many people you can have. But I don't think there's any limitation on the family tree builder.
Okay.
But you can check it out and get more information on it, and it'll give you the details, I'm sure, if there's some restrictions on it. Now, out of all the different, I've used over the years several different desktop applications, software applications for genealogy that sync with the cloud, including Ancestry.com and Family Tree Maker. But I have to tell you, of all of them, I like this one the best. Now, it's not necessarily the easiest to use, but it is fairly straightforward, and there's some great help features, and it doesn't take long to learn how to use it. I would say compared to Family Tree Maker, which by the way is going away if you've been reading the press recently, they're going to stop supporting it after 2016. But compared to Family Tree Maker, I think this is better and easier. Just my 2 cents. Now, whatever you do, please don't try to sync this with the PRA's MyHeritage website. It will probably crash and burn both sides of it, both your Family Tree Builder and our site. So please don't do that. Make sure that you set this up to sync only with your personal MyHeritage site. Okay? And again, it's free. Okay. The next thing under apps is timeline, which is kind of interesting. And if you click on this, and you can get to timeline other ways, and we'll show you that later on. But when you click on this, this gives you a look, if you will, at the people, and a timeline. Now, because I was on Levi Pennington when it first started, over here on the left-hand side, let me do the spotlight. You notice that it says timeline family, and it says Levi. And we have compared to People, Time Magazine, or Wikipedia. I'm going to go back to this. And rather than family, if you want, you can do life, historical, or family. You got those choices. And rather than Levi, you could pick somebody else, So I'm going to go ahead and leave them where it was. And you can see, too, it loads up the timeline. If you go over here to this side over here, it has week, month, year, decade, century, or millennium. Okay. You can also take and you can scroll whichever way you want to, up or down, left or right. Well, because I have millenniums, let me go to century. Yeah, see now it's a little bit better. They're not quite so close together. And now you've got a scroll bar down here so you can move left or right. And you notice that in some places there's a little icon on there, and like that represents a birth date. This has a death date. Okay? So it's kind of interesting, that's what they're using as the date, either birth date, in some cases a marriage too. Like, yeah, that's a marriage there. That's what they use to put this on the timeline. So you can quickly tell, oh, there's a death date. Okay, I want to see that. You can share this by clicking on the share button. You have some options you can do about images, icons to show, color backgrounds, and things like that. And then you can also click on time book. I'm not going to do that right now, but that's kind of an interesting feature you can use. Okay, on time book, I'm going to click on that here. And again, this just shows you this, and what it starts doing, it starts putting together a book, but it shows you what's going to put into there, and then you can add more content if you want to, and then share feedback and so forth. But I'm not going to click on any of those, but you can go look at those at your convenience. Okay, the next tab at the top up here is research. Now, this research window you're looking at here is one that, because the PRA has our data subscription plan, we have access to all of the databases that MyHeritage supports. And by the way, they're adding databases all the time. under this research tab, what it does is it breaks things down for you in some major categories. So if that's all you wanted to look at and search for right now, you can click on just those. Family trees is other MyHeritage members' family trees only. Newspapers, explanatory, immigration and travel. This is where they've added some new stuff recently. They have some suggestions for hiring a researcher. And then here they talk about DNA tests that I won't get into right now, unless later people have questions about that.
Can I ask you about whether this covers countries, several countries, or just the U.S.?
Several countries, worldwide.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you notice here to the left, thank you for asking that. If you notice here for the left where it says categories, census and voters records, it's got U.S., U.K. and Ireland, Nordic, and even more.
Okay.
And then family trees, it's got several categories as well. Okay. So it has a number of these that are available to you.
So this would be in place of signing up for the domestic or international ancestry.com.
Well, I wouldn't say in lieu of. As I said earlier, my experience has been, and I know other people have found the same thing, that you frequently will find information in MyHeritage databases that you do not find or is not available in Ancestry.
Okay.
Likewise, the same can be said of Ancestry, that sometimes you'll find stuff there that's not in MyHeritage. I've even found examples, many examples, where MyHeritage has more accurate and more detailed, more up-to-date information than Ancestry does.
Okay.
Okay. So that's why I was talking about, having multiple accesses for your genealogy research. And in my case, I have Ancestry and MyHeritage, and so forth. So I can't say that that's exclusively one's better than the other one. It's not that way at all. So you just kind of have to pick and choose how you're going to go about it. And maybe one year you do one, and next year you do the other. I'm not sure. Okay. Excuse me. On this one, because we have a Premier Plus plan and we have the data subscription, it talks about super search, and it shows you that there are almost 7 billion historical records that it has access to. It also has an advanced search tab where you can go into this and you can be more specific if you wish to. When I do searches, I like to use the concept to throw a wide net and search for just the basic parameters like first name, last name, approximate birthday, if I know a place of birth, and or a keyword, and I never check exact match when I'm doing the broad search type thing, okay? So I'm going to do Benega Pennington. His birth date is 1770, and I'm just going to do NC. No, I'm going to do Alabama. Okay. I'm not going to do any keywords, so I'm going to do search. And depending upon your internet speed connection and things like that determines how quickly you're going to get it. Now here it comes back on the right-hand side with results, or you have summary, okay? I'm going to click on summary real quick so you can see the comparison. And I like this because this gives you a breakdown of census and voter records, family trees, birth, marriage, and death, photos, and military records, and immigration and travel. Okay. Now, I would be more inclined to pay attention to like census records, birth and marriage, military records, immigration, travel, and that kind of stuff, because the information I find in family trees tends to be pretty much information that came from me because they copy it from my public website. So I would go looking at some of these places first. Now, in this case, I know he was born in the United States, so I'm not too interested in England or Wales birth dates or marriages, things like that. But here's interesting one: Texas marriages and divorces for a Bennigan Pennington Texas burst, and I go, no, you know. But if you click on some of these, what happens is because I threw a broad net, I'm getting mostly hits on Pennington or anything with Pennington with a B in it. See what it's done here? It's not Bennigan, it's Pennington, but it has a letter B in it. Okay? So I'm going to go back one page. But you can do that if you want to give you a quick narrow down of where you might want to focus. Now in this case here, it shows you the results, and the first one it hits on is my guy, and this is coming from MyHeritage personal website. So if I click on this and I see that, and it's going to give me the picture from his gravestone and so forth with all that information and so forth and so on. Now if I wanted to, I could save that record to the person in the family tree. All right, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to go, I got to pick the right Bennigan Pennington because they're all in here. Now here's the guy right there that I know is him. So I just saved that to his record. So that's how easy it is. Now I did that for you to demonstrate a point or a couple of points. One, the value of having a data subscription plan. Two, that if you get lucky and you find somebody that is your person, like I just did here, and you know it's your person, you can click to save the record to your personal family tree, just like that. All of that data that is here is going to go over now. In this case, it's going to go to my PRA's MyHeritage site, and it's coming from my personal genealogy site. But I did that because it's my guy. I know who he is. I did the research. I know it's the same guy. So you can see the value of that. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen every time. But if you get lucky and you find out it is the same guy, bada boom, bada bing. What a wonderful thing to do. Now, even better yet, let's say that it's your person, and the information it's finding, especially if it's from a historical record like a newspaper, a census record, something like that, a birth record, and you can see the original document, you're golden. And if you know it's your person, you add it to MyHeritage site, your personal MyHeritage site, and look at what you've just done. And now it pops back up and says, hey, by the way, the person you just added to your MyHeritage site, we have more information on his children and on his parents. Woohoo! Now you get excited. Okay? So one simple, easy thing to do, the potential and the impact on your personal genealogy research is amazing. It can lead you to places that you never would have got to otherwise. Now, Ancestry.com does kind of the same thing. You know, that's why I said both of them are kind of interesting, but always make sure that when you look at this, you're looking at a good quality record. In this example I just demonstrated for you, it came from another MyHeritage member's website. So you have to be concerned about the quality of that research. So you want to look at, well, what records does that person use to make that match? On the other hand, if the match comes from a historical record like a newspaper, census record, birth, marriage, death certificate, wow, now that's the best kind of source you can get. So those are the kind of things that you really want to do and you want to get excited about. So when you're doing the research here, you know, look for those kind of things, okay? Now, if you want to, you can go over to the left, you can edit your search, or you can start a new one. Or it says census, voter, family trees, books, publications. You know, you can go through here and you can even refine more the different things you're looking for that would narrow your search down. Okay? So that's why I like to start with the broad search first and then start narrowing it from there. Now that's on the research app. I'm sorry, in the research tab. So I hope that made sense to what I just did, because that's a very important part. Now, again, depending upon which plan that you pay for, or you get the free one, where the free one's going to give you limited access to records. The premium's going to give you a little bit more, premium plus a little bit more, but if you want them all, you're going to have to purchase the data subscription plan. And I know that we've had lots of questions about that because it's confusing. It's not made clear by MyHeritage when you first join up. And of course, what they would like you to do is they would like you to take and buy the most expensive everything they offer. And I'm not a salesperson for MyHeritage, but I can tell you that there is benefit to buying everything. But maybe what you want to do is limit yourself. Say, I'm going to do it for 1 year, get everything done I need to get done in 1 year, then I'm going to bail. And then go to the free one. If you keep the free one, you can still have access to the PRA's MyHeritage site as long as you're still an active member of the PRA.
Can I ask you about the DNA research? I did the
Sure.
Genographic project and the Ancestry.com DNA thing. Do they? Can you import those into?
No. No, they don't. What the DNA tab is, it's more or less a sales page, if you will, of the different DNA tests that are available to you and how much they cost in the different companies. And then down here at the bottom it says show tests for females. And then it shows you what you can order for the female. And then you can click and go back to the male. Now, each of these companies offers something a little bit different. That's there. And each of the different sites give you different kinds of information. But you cannot import the results into MyHeritage. Family Tree Maker, you can. The Master Genealogist, you can import it. Ancestry already captures it for you when you log in. That you can go right to your site and they'll show you the DNA results. So you just have to, and I would urge you to try to get a good understanding as you can as to what each different test offers you. Okay? Because a lot of people buy these and then they're disappointed with the results. 23andMe, I just bought this myself about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I have Ancestry, I've got Family Tree DNA, and have all the tests under those two. And out of all those, there really haven't been that outstanding results for me, with one exception. And the exception was that on the Y-DNA test on Family Tree DNA testing, I matched 67 markers with 3 other individuals, which when you get a 67, that's outstanding. And what that means is the 3 of us, or the 4 of us, shared a common ancestor within the last 4 to 5 generations. Now, normally, that'd be great news, because what you would hope is you contact them and you say, okay, who's our common ancestor, right? Here's my ancestors, and you give them a list, and then you want them to come back and say, oh yeah, your 5 times great-grandfather was also my 5 times, or my 4 times great-grandfather. This is what I know. And then you get all excited. Unfortunately, none of us have been able to identify who that common ancestor is. None of us. We all hit dead ends at around the 5th generation or so. There's that missing link that's in there.
Yeah. Well, the Genographic and Ancestry.com were great for broad strokes, but nothing for specifics. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and Ancestry and FTDNA with the MTDNA and the Family Finder, all I've gotten out of that has been a lot of email messages from people who say they're my 3rd and 4th cousins, and they want to know who our common ancestor is. And I politely say, I don't know. Can you tell me? Because 3rd and 4th cousins is like, you can imagine thousands and thousands of people and everything. So, anyway, so that's all that does. So you cannot import your results from that.
Okay.
But frequently they run specials here, It'll tell you that there's a special on or something like that. Okay, so before I break away from the research part of this, and I realize that only if you have the data subscriptions will you be able to take full advantage of this. But I believe if you have just the basic and premium plus plans, you can still do some of that. So if you click on the research, you should still be able to do a research on that page.
Okay.
All right. Let's go back over then. So kind of review, we did the login, we did the site features and navigation. That's what we've been covering. So I'm going to go back to the home page now. And you can see that there are these different links on the left side here. We've talked about all of those. We covered the record matches and we covered the smart matches. And down this section is what's new. There are some quick links, I'm sorry. And here it's telling me too that we saved a record to Benega Pennington. So now it shows up that record is now there. And it goes through this and it says that I invited Natasha to join the site. And then Carmen invited another new member. So this is what this page is all about, just kind of a summary that's on there. So before I leave this home page, is there any more questions about the navigation and some of the general site features?
No.
This is also new to me. I'll have questions, many, as I go along, I'm sure.
That's okay. Well, as I said earlier, this is being recorded. Thanks, Natasha. This is being recorded, and I'm going to record each session, and when I get through with them, it'll take me a few days to kind of get them ready to go, but I'll put them up on the website. So you can go back over and you can look, and they'll be in a video format, and you can review them, and you can pause it to look something up, and you can go back and start it again, or you can fast forward. So they'll be there available for you, okay? So that'll help. And like I said, we have the part 2s coming up in January, where we'll be talking about doing more detailed how to search a family tree and how to add a new person, fact, event, or source, which is an interesting thing to do. Okay, let's go back up to family tree then. And I'm going to kind of review some quick ways to search the family tree. And I'm going to use the highlight or spotlight tool again. Right up here in the top right, you see there's a little white box that says find a person, and then there's a little handheld, what do we call it, microscope now. Help me, what do you call that little tool there?
Magnifying glass.
Magnifying glass, there you go, thank you. Right there. So I'm going to click in this white box, and I'm going to start typing a name. Now, as I type a name, you'll notice that the wheels kind of start. See how when it says too many matches, put some more information. And of course, it helps if you spell it right. Okay, now all I do is type the first name, and you notice that it drops down several Benega Penningtons it found. So I know that the one I'm looking for is this gentleman, 1770 to 1855. So I'm going to click on him. And it's going to take me to him. Now I want to magnify this. So I'm going to use the magnifier zoom in slider over here on the right. And I'm going to magnify it. And you can see now on the right-hand side here, there's a little green box with 2 semicircles in it. It says Smart Matches. Click here to view Smart Matches to people in other family trees. Now, Smart Matches other MyHeritage members' sites. I don't want to look at those right now. This right icon means a picture. I can add a picture. This little icon is a pencil. I can do a quick edit. If I left click on quick edit, it just pops up this quick box that says his profile, and I can edit it. And I can go through here and I can edit that information should I want to. Okay? I can go down here and edit more information like bio and more facts, and then it brings up this other page. And over here to the left, you notice it's broken down into essentials, which is sex, age, name, those kind of things. You also can go to family, biography, where you can add some interesting information here if you like, contact info, work, education, and then down here is source citations, where you can go in and you can add a new source, or you can use this drop-down box where it says source, click on the drop-down one, and you notice it's blank, but if I went in here and say select the source, I could start typing, or I can add a new source. Oh. Okay, and then here is all facts, and you can go into here and you can add additional information if you want to, like another source citation and so forth. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Benaja again, and let's see, I'm going to say cancel all that and go back to the family tree. Okay, so that's one quick way that you can do a search, is using this box right up here. If you click on people, which is right below family tree, you get this other interesting window that allows you also to search. Now in this case though, that these are kind of in alphabetical information based on how they're entered into the website. And you notice that in this case, there doesn't appear to be any sense of order to them, even though they're supposed to be alphabetical. But you notice each one of these names has a little asterisk in front of Pennington. That's because they are the progenitor or group leader. So you have Pennington Group 1, and the asterisk Group 10, Group 11, 12, and so forth. These are all the progenitors of each group. Okay? That's why they're appearing first. And then they're in numerical order by 5, 6. Like here's 7 for Group 7. Natasha, you're Group 7, right? If I remember correctly. So here's a Group 7. You click on Mikaja or Makaja, and this will take you right to that particular group, progenitor group, and you can see the information that's here on him. And you can also say view in a tree, which gives you a quick look at his family tree, which can be very helpful if you're looking for connections perhaps to somebody else in that area. Okay, let me go back to people. Loading it back up here. Oh, maybe Group 11, Natasha's saying now. Oh, okay, interesting. But if you wanted to search up here, you notice there's a white box up here underneath people, and you just type in there, and again, you can type the name of what you're looking for. So let's do Ephraim. If I could type, it would be better. And I just wanted to search on just that. So I click the circle button. You think they'd put a thing up there that says find, I don't know why they did that. So many silly things they do. And here's a listing of everybody who has the name Ephraim. And we have a lot of Ephraims in our master file. And they cause a great deal of confusion. So if you have an Ephraim in your family history, don't get confused, when you see all these different Ephraims that are up there. And there are some people who have even tried to link some of the Ephraims that we have in our database to other family groups, or they'll say, like, for example, if you look at Ephraim Pennington Group 1, I noticed this the other day, if I go to Family Tree, and yeah, they're not on here now, they've been corrected. But before, somebody had him connected to some other Ephraims, but there was no source information on that. And we don't have any reliable information to connect him to his parents, whoever they might be. We suspect it might be some of these other guys, but we don't know that for sure. So that's an easy way to search if you want to search for just Ephraim or just a particular name, or you could type in the whole thing, or you can do so advanced search, and you can search either specific fields, all fields. Spelling can be exact, or soundex, which gives you a broader search field, okay? And you can then tell it to sort by last, first, birth date, birthplace. So you can put these filters on here how you want to search it, and that helps a lot of times. You know, if you're looking for Ephraim Pennington and you know the birth date you're looking for is like 1850 or something like that, you can say, I want to search it just by the date, birth date. And you also can control what it looks like, whether it's thumbnails or the details like we're looking at here. The other nice thing is you can show in the tree, which is over here where it says Actions, or if you click on More, you can go to Profile, Show, Ancestors, and Descendants and Timelines. So let's see what happens if we click on Descendants. So if you're in Group 7 and you want to see a list of all of the descendants of this person, this is the way you do it. Now in this case, we're looking at the descendants of Group 1. And then we have some options here to show, and then you can do how many generations, the type of tree and details, and so forth. Maximum, medium, minimum number of details, treetop, recursive site. It gives you just different looks. So you can see, and what it does is it slides to the right. See if you, as you get farther down here. See that? And then you can click this blue button here and slide down and see even more. So it's a nice visual display that you get when you do this, and you don't have to look at a long list of just names. You can just do a quick visual, and it shows you by generation. And you notice up here it says generations 3. If I was to change this to 6, then click Display Report, it's going to build this page again, but showing just the, instead of just the top 3, it's going to show me now 6 generations. And each generation is separated. You can see how it's separated out. And of course, this last one down here is more people. Now that's a pretty cool feature. You know, visually you can do stuff like, it's almost like a pedigree view, but it's more graphic.
Cool.
So that's kind of a nice thing to do. And I tend to like that, you know, as a way to do a quick look at some of these things. And if nothing else, it's kind of interesting to go, oh, look at that. Isn't that cool? Okay. So those are the 2 main ways to do a search for an individual, using the search box here on the pedigree view, or under family tree, click on people. Okay? I'm going to click on people.
Once you identify the people and their individual dates, how do you find out about them and the kind of life they lead?
Okay.
Is it just a matter of, yeah, go ahead.
No, okay, that's a good question. Okay, let's take Ephraim. Well, you know what? Let me go find Benega again, because I know there's some detail in there because he's my guy.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go here. Now, normally what you're going to do is you're going to go to, I'm going to click right on him. So I'm going to go to what's called the kind of the general page here, and you notice it has his information, a summary over here of research on smart matches, and I can also research this person right from here. Has a summary of basic information, birth and death, and then underneath it has information like records, photographs, the family, education, and then down here is biography, where some information's been added. So if you had some biography information, which is kind of like a summary of his information or other stuff like that, this is where you would want to put biography information, or you'd look down in here and see, okay?
And when you search this, you get what other people have written globally? on that person?
Well, globally, not necessarily. You couldn't. The only people who could add to this would be people who belong to the PRA's MyHeritage site.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
if you were in this mode and you found
Mm.
this person, you should be able to add something to him.
Okay.
For example, here's where events are.
Mm-hmm.
If you click on events, you notice this gives you by date the events, and it shows you a map over here of these different events. And if you clicked on them, it would take you, like it says, birth of a son,
Mm-hmm.
marriage, and things like that. It's going to show you that information.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you click on timeline, this is the same timeline we looked at a while ago, but this is for a specific individual.
Uh-huh.
So you can see
But then
that.
you'd have to go to history books or whatever to determine if anything has been written about that person.
Well, let me go back here to edit profile. We're back to this start page. See where it says edit profile?
Yeah.
Click on edit profile. Now you have all these different subcategories like biography and things like that,
Uh-huh.
and also sources.
Uh-huh.
You know.
So you could look those up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if there was a source information, like here's source citations,
Mm-hmm.
you know, let's see, all facts. Let me get this right. Yeah, see, here's a listing of the different sources that have to do with what that is,
I see.
that are listed out by detail, but they're not in a narrative book format. That was the one that I showed you a minute ago, where it gives you the biographic information,
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
Or under family, it gives
But
you
that
that.
depends on what members of the PRA have entered, if anything.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So let me go here back to essentials. Yeah. So, again, this, you could have access to this, and you would be able to go into here and add information here. Like here is cause of death. There's nothing here, and you have a drop down to choose from. Death place. If you click the drop down, it's going to load all of the death places that are listed in our database on that site. So you may find a site, you may find the information already there. Same thing with this. So if you start typing it, you may find it already here. Okay. So, and again, I'm going to go back. I'm going to cancel that and go back to here, and it's broken again by categories. And again, these are the different photographs and so forth and so on that are on there, and you can highlight it and it shows you what it is. And then it shows you the family, the contact, education, the biography, and what have you.
But for someone like Isaac Pennington, I mean, there have been so many books written about him and Mary and William Penn and their relationships. So would you find all of that sort of cited or references cited?
You mean
Isaac? Yeah.
for Isaac?
Isaac, yeah.
Yeah, so if I open him up, and you can see all the different facts underneath here, like each event, it's been so well resourced or searched by the professional genealogist. She did a great job of adding all kinds of narrative and source citation. And if I click on the profile, and you can see all the information that she has up here under records, and you can click on those, and it'll take you right to the record.
Yeah.
So it's quite a bit of stuff. It's the link together there, but again, it's like a thumbnail, a brief description of it, and it's not in a narrative book form except for the biography part.
Yeah.
And in this case, she did not add a biography. She just gave us the events and the sources and the citations, which is amazing. And even the contact information, she added some information about that on where she got this stuff from. And then here's the source citations that she puts in here. And if you go to our website in the members only section, and you'll see there's a whole web page we have dedicated to him, and we took all of her source citations, including images, and those are all available to you that way. They're there. Now, it would be great if it turned out that if we had the same kind of information on the PRA's MyHeritage site, but we don't. A lot of people who have added information here don't do a really good job about putting in sources or citations. So that's unfortunate, and we encourage everybody to please, do as good a job as you can on sourcing your information and using citations. And we caution you about using a citation or a source that is another member's family tree on either MyHeritage or on Ancestry. If you go there and you look at that, it's like what I call the house of 1,000 falling trees, built on 1,000 falling trees. I love it when, in Ancestry especially, when somebody cites another member's family tree, so you go to it to look at the source for that particular fact or link to a family, and it says, well, I'm using another member's family tree. And you go to that to check out the source, and so I'm using another member's family tree. And they're all using each other's family trees as their own citations. But nobody has a source or a valid citation where you can go look at that record yourself to confirm that it's a valid record.
Yeah.
Like, well,
would it be useful to have a bibliography? I've been doing a lot of research on the origin of Quakerism, and so I have a lot of books from that are very old. And I wonder if such a thing would be of value to cite on Isaac Pennington's site.
It could be, because we had a genealogist do all the citations for us. What I would suggest you do is send me an email message with that information, and I'll put you in touch with her.
Okay.
And since it's her work, I don't want to change her work or anything else like that.
Right.
But make her aware of it, and she can evaluate it and says, yeah, this is all stuff we can add. Then she can go back later and she can update the family tree.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's, if you had somebody like, for example, Isaac Pennington is here on our family tree.
Yes.
But he's in with the, is it single spelling? Oh, I think he's in. Is he in as Sir Isaac? Yeah, he's in as Sir Isaac. And you notice that he's in with a single spellington of P-E-N-I-N-G-T-O-N.
Right.
Okay. And we've corrected that, updated it. So if you go to him and you look at his profile, you could go in and add it, because everything we have here matches what she did, our researcher did. So you can go to him on our master file, and you can go into here and you can add some source citations. Right here it says add source citation. And in the biographic information, this is from her, and we added some narrative about the Pennington pedigrees and stuff. So you can go into here and add another source citation, and you can also do education information, whatever you wanted to do. So you could add that, and if you've got a good source, you could add right to it from there.
And his second wife, yes. Yes, I certainly can provide that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and I did see something about, the family second wife. I don't remember where I saw that, but I do recall something about that with him.
And that's the one who became, well, who have written many books. Mary, his second wife, was the link to William Penn.
Yes. Prideaux? No.
Her daughter.
Yeah.
Springett.
Yes, there you go. Springett. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's a good place where you could add stuff like that, right on our master file.
Yeah. Okay.
And like you said, the fact you've got good source citations, that's wonderful. Sources
Yeah.
and or citations, yeah.
Yeah.
And in many cases, you'll find, and when you put those on, you might find in the historical records that information's already there.
Uh-huh.
When you go to add it, and it might just pop up, and there it is.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Yeah, because if it's in the database already. But if you don't have a paid subscription to the database,
I gotcha.
it may not show up that way. So you might have to add it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to put my shekels together and pay my dues for that.
Well, or find a willing researcher.
Yes,
Okay.
my library.
Yeah, and like I said, our library at the county level here, I was very surprised when I found out that they had added a couple of databases like Ancestry and MyHeritage and a bunch of other ones, WorldCat, and I forget the other two they've added, so that any member of the library can go in up there and access it for free.
Yeah.
And I think what happened was a lot of people in genealogy research were going there, and they decided it would be worth it to add those. And many times the companies like MyHeritage or Ancestry and other ones like that, they will give for free access privileges to libraries, schools, in research. They'll do it for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll do that through part of the reach out.
We have a genealogical group in my that's related to my library, so it is a center for the area.
Cool. Yeah, so ask them. They may have that, and if not, they can reach out, and they can usually get free access.
All right.
Which is a wonderful resource when you think about it. It's there all the time, and you don't have to pay for it. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Thanks for that little sidebar.
Sure, no problem. Well, we're at that point anyway, where we got about 15 minutes left. So I was going to open this back up to questions and answers because we've covered a lot. We were able to do some quick searching of family trees. So I kind of gave you a little tidbit there, a little look at that aspect of it. And we'll be in part 2, we'll go into more detail about adding people and facts and all the rest of that. So, so I'm going to pause for a minute and see if you have any questions about anything we've reviewed so far. We've done a lot. Let's see. Natasha, did you get your invitation okay? I saw that I sent you one. I hope it came in okay. And that once you get it, it's easy for you to follow the directions. And remember, you don't have to join MyHeritage where you have to pay for something if you don't want to. You should be able to opt to just choose the basic free one, okay? And then once you do that, and then go and click on the link to get back to the PRA's invitation to join our site, and it should let you in.
I have a question.
Sure.
Do you have any suggestions? I was not very good about citing sources when I first started with this stuff.
Don't feel alone.
I have found other people have information in their trees that, I always take with a grain of salt, and I've contacted some of them and said, where did you get your information, because it's not cited and I've never heard from them.
Yeah.
And that gets very frustrating. Do you have any suggestions?
Well, I think you're doing the right thing by taking with a grain of salt. And, if my initial reaction is that if I can't find the source that they are citing, if I can't get to it, if I can't duplicate it and confirm it myself, I'm not going to pay any attention to it as a reliable source. However, I might save it in my research file as a note saying, hey, go check this out because this was a source that was cited. I couldn't find it, but you might use that as just a clue, if you will. Maybe there's some little tidbit in there that might be worth it,
Okay.
take a look at. Or what I do in my own personal research is, and I do this with Benega Pennington, my 5 times great-grandfather. I don't know for sure who his father is. I suspect we know who it is. Benega Pennington, born 1724, 25. But Andrew Pennington, who is the son of Benega Pennington, 1724. But what I do is I say, I don't know this for sure. I suspect it, and I'm just using some hunches and suspicions, and I don't have any proof on this, so be careful, be cautious. However, I also have DNA research that shows us that several people who belong to, I think it's 12 different family groups right now, all share a common ancestor within the last 6 to 7 generations. So there's group 4, group 8, group 11, group 30, 31, group 7, and group 4, if I remember the groups correctly. We all have common enough DNA markers that our DNA study chairman, Dr. Nick Pennington, says we all share common ancestors 7, 8 generations. And we think that's Benega Pennington, born 1724. So I put that in there, and on my personal genealogy page, I link him as a father, but I put all kinds of cautions and flags up there.
Okay.
So that the reader who comes in there goes, oh, cool, it's Andrew Pennington. No, wait a minute. Please read this, so they know. It's just a theory on my part. Okay, Natasha. Yeah, if you're downloading and looking on your phone or an iPad or tablet, sometimes the MyHeritage site doesn't look very good. So you might want to make sure you do that on a laptop or a desktop computer when you're going through the things, because the phone tablet thing doesn't always work correctly when you're using the browser and all that. Okay, any questions?
Jean, aren't all the Penningtons related to Gamel, the Pennington?
No.
That wasn't the origin of the Pennington name?
Well, let's step back for a second. The origin of the Pennington name, remember there are several different variant spellings of the surname. Several different. And if you look at the history, at least the last one I read, it talks about the origin of that family name. And as I understand it, that originally meant, and we're talking thousands of years ago, the man from over the hill.
Yeah.
Penny and tone, put together meant the guy who comes over the hill, as opposed to somebody who was a shopsmith or a blacksmith or something like that. And so the name was more a reference to geographical location than it was a particular family. Okay, that's why the DNA study is so interesting. Because if you think about it, if you go back enough generations, let's say just 8 generations, there are thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people on the earth right now who probably share enough common markers that we can say, at one point we probably were all second or third cousins.
Yep.
Right?
So, I'm an anthropologist, so yes.
Yeah. So, the origin of the name itself is more geographical in nature than it is family history. Because if you look at when we really started tracking family histories, it comes into 1500s, 1400s, and through there.
Yeah.
And in England and Ireland and so forth, those surnames were still mostly associated with property, which was something I found really interesting. And more specific to what you were saying about Gamel de Pennington, is that if the website, let's say, or the property at Muncaster Castle, it passed by marriage, and let's say that if the only surviving child was a female, and she married John Smith, guess what happened to John Smith's surname? It went away, and he became Pennington because he married the daughter of Gamel de Pennington, or whoever it was that had title to Muncaster Castle. Okay, so he now becomes a Pennington.
I see.
His DNA and all the rest of that has nothing to do with the fact that his surname just changed because. Okay. So that's why I say to you, no, we're not all related to Gamel de Pennington. The best we could say is that the Pennington, P-E-N-I-T-O-N-E, E-N-I-N-T-E-N, and or whatever variant you want to pick of it in those times, that we share a common surname, and we can share a common story about Muncaster Castle and how that happened. But in terms of it all being related to him, no.
No. Okay.
The best we've been able to do so far is that the Reverend Jasper Green Pennington has done one of the best researches I've seen on Group 1. And if you look at the Group 1 research and if you talk to him and read his writings, he's done a reasonably good job about tracing back quite a ways into that Gamble D. Pennington history and descendants of that. And it scatters quickly. And the DNA research so far is interesting, to say the least. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, but the DNA research isn't something that you're still accepting?
Yes, the DNA research is still open to study, and it's sponsored. You have to go to Family Tree DNA to participate. And at this point, the only DNA study we are involved with is the Y DNA, which is the male lineage.
Yeah.
So what a lot of people have done is they talk an uncle or a grandfather or a brother, or a father into participating in the DNA testing, and they submit his DNA for examination and sampling.
Yeah, I don't have any of those.
Okay.
I have a son, but he's a little more mixed.
Yeah. Well, now the mtDNA, but remember that's only passed from mother to daughter directly. But it does go from mother to son, but just one generation. Okay. So whereas the Y DNA goes, father to son and down. Yeah, and the mtDNA is mom to daughter to daughter to daughter.
Right.
But these other marker tests that they have are much broader than that and tell you a lot more information. That's why you need to read those to make sure you understand, what the results mean.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. If not, we're going to wrap this up, and I appreciate all of you participating. And like I said, it'll take me a few days to get this session, ready to go up on the website, this one and the other one. But as soon as they're done, I'll post an announcement on our mail list and our blogs and all of that, and so you'll know where they are. And you'll have to be a PRA member to access that portion of our website where they'll be posted. So if you have no other questions, I thank you for your time and attention and your participation, and I hope you found this of value and you got something from it. And I wish you all happy holidays and a happy new year. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.